Hi everyone, welcome along to this training on easy steps to define and plan your online course. So over the next 3 days, this is the first video. You're going to receive 2 more, so that will be tomorrow and the day after. And what I'm aiming to do in this is to walk you through the process of coming up with your course idea, defining it, and then planning. That way it will be much less stressful, and also you won't waste any time kind of going around the topic or anything like that, maybe creating materials that aren't going to be needed. You're going to be laser focused on what lies ahead, and hopefully it will be a much more enjoyable experience because of that. So the 3 steps that we're going to go through over the next 3 days are step 1, which we'll be talking about today, and that is deciding on your topic. Tomorrow, step 2, we're going to get clear on your title and strapline, and that includes a lot of other things, because if you're clear on that, you'll know how to market your course at the end, and you will stay focused during the creation of the course. And then step 3, which the video will come out the day after tomorrow, is all about planning your course. And these things might sound small, but they are super important if you want to create the best course for yourself, but also for your audience. Okay, so first up, deciding on a topic. So you have a wealth of knowledge in your field. So whatever your business is, or whatever your interest is, whatever you blog about, or you run a business around this topic, you know a lot. You might not think you do, but I promise you do. The trick is not going to be to come up with topics, but to narrow it down to what will work in a course environment. And this is super important because I've created a lot of courses. At the beginning, I made mistakes in kind of the depth of the course, or maybe the width, the spread of the course, maybe making it too wide. So you want to be clear from the start in exactly what you're setting out to do. So within this, step 1, what I would like you to do, maybe not now during this video, but afterwards, is to get out a clean piece of paper and write down everything you could create a course around. All the topics, all the silly ideas, all the hugely sensible ideas. Maybe it fits with your existing business, or maybe it even takes you in a new direction. You just never know. Write down both of those things, the things that do fit well with what you offer now, and the things that you're kind of dreaming about that you'd like to create going forward, because you're going to keep this piece of paper and look at it going forward as you create not just this course, but other courses. Everything. I want you to write down everything connected with what you'd like to create a course around. Things, silly things you dreamed about, things that you think will be so super helpful for your audience. Get it out of your head and onto paper. That is the super important first step. Don't censor yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Be creative and feel free. No one else is going to read this, laugh at you, or actually make you create the courses. You can write down things that you have no intention of ever creating, or so you think, but sometimes just getting it out of your head, getting it down on paper can make a real difference. And as I said, keep this paper for future reference, because it will be valuable source material for future courses. We're going to use it now to create this course, but you'll also want to refer back to it. And these steps can be created each time, can be followed every time you want to create a new course. Step 2. Now, look through what you've written and think about the topics that would be super easy for you to write or talk about. Particularly if this is your first course or one of your early courses, you don't want to be doing a ton of research, maybe a little bit here and there, or to check facts, but this course should flow out of you. It should be what you know really well. Yes, of course, you're going to have to sit down when it comes to creating the course and order your thoughts and get down either on paper or in video format this information that you know, but it shouldn't be a struggle. I always base my courses around the things that you really do know well, because yes, you have to formulate things together, but if you know it really well and you know you have confidence in that, the course becomes much easier to create. Also remember, you don't have to be the font of all knowledge on this topic that you're going to choose. You just have to know more than the people you are teaching the course to. So maybe this is beginner level, you're intermediate or advanced, but you're going to be teaching people those first steps. Supposing you're an expert knitter, okay, you might not know everything about every kind of knitting stitch or way of doing things or pattern, but you do know how to get started with knitting. This is just an example. So you know those basic steps, you know those easy patterns, you know how to give people confidence in what they're doing. I would guess that you probably know a lot or a lot more than you think you do. So don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of being seen as the expert in this situation. Now, look through what you've written down, and there could be like 1 page, there could be 10 pages. I don't know how far forward your thinking process is on this, or you know how many ideas you've got bubbling away in there. But remember, you can take big topics and break them down into smaller topics as well. So you might have those mini topics written down. Then I want you to narrow your big list down to 5 potential options. Okay, if you can really only narrow it down to 7, that's fine too. But what I don't want you to have is loads and loads of options at this stage. Really think through, what are the things I know best? What could I start out with, and narrow it down to those. Now step 3, look at these 5 options, or 7, or however many you've written down, please no more than 10, and decide whether they are just right for a manageable course, or whether you need to dig in deeper and to pick just one aspect of that. Now, as a guide, there are kind of 2 ways you can approach a course. So you can go big picture in a course or dive deep into certain aspects. For example, I could do a broad course on social media. In that, I could teach the overarching approach to marketing online. Plus, I could touch on each of the platforms. You know, I could talk about Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, etc. Or I could teach a dedicated course on Pinterest, really focus in on that platform and go much deeper. So there's no right or wrong with this. You should get a feel for what appeals to you right now. Maybe you know one particular element so inside out, even that might be able to be broken down into smaller sections. If this is an early course for you, the one thing I would advise is to not go too big and wide. So you don't want the course to be so big or so unmanageable. You want to really focus down, and we're going to be coming on to more on that in future videos. Now, I've got some tips for deciding which of these topics you should go with. So tip 1. If you have an existing audience, you could survey them to see if a preference becomes clear, because obviously it's important what you want to create. It's also important what your audience is interested in. So this can be super helpful if you can't decide, to perhaps see if there is a leaning in your audience and they're really thirsty for knowledge in one particular area. And if you are going to do this, do it out of those final 5 that you're narrowing it down to. Do not try to ask them about your initial brain dump where you put every single thing down. Now, you could do this on social media. You could just put like your 5 topics. Obviously, don't go into the course titles and things like that, because you don't want to be giving everything away at this stage. But if you've got just 5 topic ideas, just put those down. Ask people to vote for what would be their favourite. This has got, 2 parts to it. A, you find out information, but you're also kind of teasing your audience, getting them ready for a potential course to be coming out, which can be quite exciting for the people that love you, love your business. Or the other thing you could do is create a really simple Google form. These are free within Google Docs with the 5 options on there, and then just get people to vote and see if there's a clear favourite. You might find it comes out pretty evenly, and in which case again it'll come back to you and really what is your favourite. Some times to know this is to think about doing one, or like, you know, roll a dice. If there's 5 options, number them 1 to 5. I know there's 6, but just, or you know, just do it that way. And if number 3 comes up and you look at the course and you think, oh, I was really disappointed it was that one, that can tell you that you really wanted number 1 to come up or number 5 to come up. Number 2, tip 2, choose the thing you really want to do and the one you think will be helpful to others. Don't force yourself to create something you really don't want to do. Remember, you're going to have to market this course once it's created. Make it something you believe in, something you're excited about creating, and something that you're happy to put out there into the world. And that is very rarely the things that we feel forced to do. So even if your audience goes in one clear direction and then actually after that you think, oh, I really don't want that one to come up, I would not be forced to choose exactly what your audience chose. I mean, obviously it is a helpful indicator, but if you're really excited about another topic, go that direction. Or you might not have even surveyed your audience, but you have a gut feel for what you want to do. Now, tip 3, we have touched on this already, but this doesn't need to be the course to end all courses, or your signature course, or the course that once people have done it, they will never need to learn anything again. I'm joking there, but sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to make this course perfect. You are going to create other courses. You are going to evolve as a teacher and a creator. Make this course one step along the way. Obviously, make it as good as you can, but don't think it has to be perfect. And I really do love this quote. A beautiful thing is never perfect, because your audience will take different things from it. They will find different elements of it that are important for them. And as you evolve as somebody who creates courses, you will find your stride or your feet, and you will get into that zone. And the worst thing is to let yourself be put off creating this from the beginning because you're striving for it to be almost too big. I made this mistake at the beginning. I tried to create a much too big course, and I did actually create it, and it was fine, but I wish I had niched down at that point, narrowed down my focus, because it was exhausting, because it was too big a course to start out with. We almost think we have to create a signature course that is going to be our one thing that we're known for. That's probably unlikely to happen at the very start, because you're still learning in the process. Yes, you know all the knowledge about the topic, but you're still gaining knowledge about actual course creation. So my advice is always to bring it down to something you know well, and to perhaps go a little bit smaller than you were anticipating. Okay, so that's it for day 1. Hopefully that has helped you to decide on a topic, or at least to narrow it down to your 5 topics so you can go from there. Now day 2 is coming up tomorrow, and we are going to define your course still further. We're going to think about a title and look ahead to marketing your course. Now you might be thinking, what? I haven't even created it. Why the heck would I want to think about marketing? Well, because if you know where you're heading, it's much more likely you will get there. And of course, be able to sell this course at the end. It's so important to think about the marketing early on, because you want to have a course created that is so clear what's actually in it. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So watch your inbox for tomorrow's training, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.